Under the night sky of Seoul, where rain poured relentlessly, a quiet alley in Gangnam concealed a deep tension within its calm. Go Hae-rin sat in the driver's seat of an old black SUV, scrutinizing the entrance of the building opposite through the rearview mirror. Her gaze, even amidst the rain-soaked darkness, was sharp and unwavering. Her slender, long fingers rested lightly on the steering wheel, but the taut muscles beneath suggested she was ready to spring into action at any moment. At first glance, Hae-rin looked like an ordinary woman in her early 30s. Her simple attire and makeup-free face paradoxically highlighted the covert and dangerous nature of her profession. Her mission tonight was to safely escort Kang Min-jun, the young CEO of Hwang Group, to his mansion. For days, Min-jun had been receiving unknown threats and warnings, and Hae-rin, one of the few highly skilled bodyguards, was assigned to this task. She had already memorized Min-jun's profile perfectly, 32 years old, grandson of Hwang Group's founder, a figure possessing exceptional business acumen and charisma. However, Hae-rin's interest was not in his background or wealth, only his safety that was her sole objective. Min-jun instinctively knew this situation was not ordinary. Hyun-woo, do you have some connection with Team Leader Go, or does Team Leader Go know you? His voice was filled with suspicion. Team Leader Go, the VIP is coming out. Tae-woo, a fellow bodyguard, said through the comms. Hyun-woo quickly composed his expression and forced an awkward smile. Oh, no, brother, it's just a fleeting acquaintance from a long time ago. I suppose she's such a capable person. She just left an impression. He turned his gaze from Hae-rin to Min-jun, but his eyes were still trembling uneasily. Hae-rin replied softly, adjusting her posture. Understood. Proceed as planned. Hae-rin silently watched the two of them. She knew Hyun-woo was lying, but she judged that revealing her identity at this moment would be dangerous. It wasn't the right time yet. She quietly approached Min-jun's side, intensifying his protection. Moments later, a black sedan smoothly emerged from the building's entrance, followed by several escort vehicles. Min-jun's car was the third in line. Hae-rin started her SUV and calmly joined the end of the convoy. The rain intensified, heavily drumming against the windshield, and the roads were slick. Yet, Hae-rin maintained unwavering concentration even in these adverse conditions. She knew the core principles of protection better than anyone: anticipation, preparation, and swift response. Min-jun did not fully believe Hyun-woo's explanation. He instinctively sensed that there was some hidden truth from Hae-rin's subtle facial changes and Hyun-woo's uneasy gaze. He solidified his suspicion towards Hyun-woo. Inside his car, Min-jun gazed indifferently at the rapidly passing night scenery of Seoul. He was satisfied with the results of today's board meeting, but also furrowed his brow at an unknown sense of unease. Recently, threats against him had become more overt. Who was targeting him and why was unclear, but he instinctively felt that a massive conspiracy was closing in on him. His chief secretary, sitting next to him, continuously reported updates through the comms. After the Research Institute visit, Min-jun questioned Hae-rin again about her relationship with Hyun-woo. Team Leader Go. What exactly is your relationship with Hyun-woo? The look in his eyes was not just that of a fleeting acquaintance. No unusual activity reported so far. Headquarters. Hae-rin paused for a moment. She debated whether to tell Min-jun the whole truth, but she hadn't yet collected all the conclusive evidence. And thinking that her revenge plan wasn't yet complete, she decided to conceal the truth once more. Min-jun closed and opened his eyes. Fatigue washed over him, but at the same time, the spirit of a warrior ready to fight surged within him. He was a man of strong character who would not easily bend to anyone. The fact that he had to fully entrust his safety to someone else felt somewhat uncomfortable, especially regarding the new female bodyguard. Team Leader Go, who had joined the escort team today. He hadn't even properly seen her face, but her brief report was full of compliments like excellent tactician and steel-like mental strength. Is that really true? Min-jun wondered. He questioned how strong a woman could truly be in this harsh world. CEO Kang, I apologize. I cannot tell you. But one thing is certain. Executive Director Lee Hyun-woo is not a good person for you. Hae-rin's voice was firm. The convoy was crossing the Han River Bridge, just about to enter northern Seoul. Suddenly, a flash and a deafening roar tore through the quiet night sky. The lead escort vehicle was violently thrown sideways, crashing into the central divider. Simultaneously, several black vans, which had been parked on the bridge, disgorged armed assailants with automatic rifles. They opened fire indiscriminately on Min-jun's vehicle without hesitation. Min-jun was disappointed by Hae-rin's answer, but at the same time, he focused on her warning. She was someone who rarely showed personal emotions, so her description of Hyun-woo as not a good person struck him as a very important warning. He decided to believe Hae-rin's words. Ambush, protect the VIP vehicle. Tae-woo's urgent shout blared through the comms. From that day on, Min-jun began to monitor all of Hyun-woo's actions. He used his secretarial office to review all of Hyun-woo's business reports and tracked his private appointments and movements. And based on the recording file and report Hae-rin provided, Min-jun began to grasp the reality of the improper contracts between Hyun-woo and Chairman Park Tae-sung, and the conspiracy to usurp Hwang Ryong Group's new technology investment project. The situation instantly descended into chaos. Bullets rained down, and the sound of shattering car windows filled the air. Min-jun's sedan was armored, but the indiscriminate attack risked neutralizing even that protection. The chief secretary threw himself over Min-jun to shield him. He learned that Hyun-woo had attempted to hand over Hwang Ryong Group's core technology to Tae-sung Group, and at the same time, intended to plunge the company into chaos by crashing Hwang Ryong Group's stock price. Hyun-woo, with Chairman Park Tae-sung's support, had planned to completely seize control of Hwang Ryong Group. Min-jun was enraged by Hyun-woo's betrayal, but also aghast at his meticulousness. He instinctively knew that Hyun-woo hadn't simply been blinded by greed, but had been plotting this plan for a long time. Hae-rin assessed the situation in the mirror and made a calm decision. Her SUV was at the very end of the convoy, but she was in the best position to quickly perceive and react. The assailants had completely isolated the VIP vehicle. Without hesitation, she swerved her vehicle, inserting it between the VIP car and the attackers. The steel chassis absorbed the bullets, buying precious time. Min-jun was shocked that his own cousin had tried to kill him and seize the company. He felt a deep sense of betrayal and sadness. He had trusted Hyun-woo and given him many opportunities, but Hyun-woo had betrayed his expectations and chosen a devilish path. VIP vehicle, come behind me, I will secure an escape route ahead. Hae-rin's voice was unwavering, even over the comms. Meanwhile, Hae-rin anticipated that now that Hyun-woo knew her identity, he would launch an even more overt attack on Min-jun. She mobilized all her informants to monitor Hyun-woo's movements. She needed to figure out what plan Hyun-woo was hatching to trap Min-jun. She sprang out of the vehicle, dressed in a dark, rain-soaked uniform. She drew her pistol and fired several precise shots in quick succession. The assailants, caught off guard by the unexpected, powerful counterattack, hesitated briefly. Hae-rin moved with fluid grace. Even as bullets whizzed past, she calmly used the terrain for cover, evading the enemy's line of sight. Her movements were like those of a well-trained shadow. Hae-rin's prediction was correct. Hyun-woo felt threatened by her presence. He knew that as long as Hae-rin was by Min-jun's side, his plan would be difficult to succeed. Hyun-woo, along with Chairman Park Tae-sung, devised a plan to eliminate Hae-rin. They intended to dismiss Hae-rin under the pretext of her being Kang Min-jun's private bodyguard, and then set a trap to eliminate her. Min-jun watched the scene unfold from inside his car. Disbelief etched on his face. He had seen countless bodyguards, but never one who responded to a crisis with such calmness and efficiency. The sheer combat prowess displayed by this small woman, despite facing assailants armed with overwhelming firepower, was utterly shocking. Team leader, go. He barely knew her name, but her presence was deeply imprinted in his mind. A few days later, Hyun-woo demanded at a board meeting that Min-jun fire Hae-rin. CEO Kong, team leader Go, is not an official Hwang Ryong Group bodyguard. She is merely your private employee. Her presence could be a risk factor to Hwang Ryong Group's security system. Hyun-woo incited the directors, advocating for Hae-rin's dismissal. VIP vehicle, detour west and escape, I will provide cover. Hae-rin commanded again through the comms. She already knew that her fellow bodyguards were either neutralized or overwhelmed. The situation now depended solely on her judgment and abilities. Min-jun scoffed at Hyun-woo's claim. Hyun-woo, team leader. Go is my savior and Hwang Ryong Group's most capable bodyguard. Her abilities have been proven multiple times. What is your real reason for demanding her dismissal? Min-jun's voice held cold anger. She bravely drew the assailant's firepower towards herself. Her pistol, like a living entity, accurately targeted the enemy's weak points. Several assailants fell, and their formation broke, but the enemy numbers were still large. Realizing her ammunition was low, Heirin threw her pistol without hesitation and drew a hidden knife. She plunged into the enemy lines like a beast. Hyunwoo was flustered, but quickly changed his expression and attacked Minjun. Brother, team leader. Go is a person with absolutely no information about her past. Even her origins are unclear. Keeping such a person so close to you, CEO Kang, is nothing short of suicidal. Could she possibly be a spy for another competitor? Close quarters combat was her specialty. Her movements were swift and precise, neutralizing an enemy with a single motion. The battle, mixed with rain and blood, grew fiercer. She used her fists, feet, and knife, subduing the assailants as if dancing. Her eyes gleamed with killing intent, yet within them, cold rationality worked at lightning speed. She not only subdued the enemies, but focused all her attention on discerning their movements and securing an escape route for the VIP vehicle. Hyunwoo's words caused significant commotion among the directors. Heirin stood silently behind Minjun, observing the situation. She instinctively knew that Hyunwoo was trying to dig up her past. She was ready to reveal her identity at any moment, but that was a last resort. Ultimately, Minjun's car successfully escaped the scene thanks to Heirin's heroic efforts. Some assailants tried to pursue, but Heirin quickly blocked their movements. She remained until the very end, checking on the fallen bodyguards and signaling for their rescue, before finally retreating from the scene. Her body was stained with rain, sweat, and the marks of battle, but her expression remained serene and composed, as if nothing had happened. Minjun defended Heirin against Hyunwoo's attack. Hyunwoo, your claim is absurd. Team leader, Go has saved my life twice. If she were a spy, why would she save me? Even after arriving at his mansion, Minjun sat in a daze for a long time. Only one scene played vividly in his mind, the small woman who had saved him in the rain, confronting dozens of assailants alone. Her intense gaze and overwhelming combat power left a profound impression on him. He repeated her name, Go Heirin, to himself. He felt something special about her, beyond just a bodyguard. A vague premonition suggested that tonight, he might have met a woman who would change his life. That, too, could be a ploy to deceive you. CEO Kang, Hyunwoo did not back down, but Heirin's heart was complicated. Along with the relief of completing her mission, she was engulfed by anxiety about her true identity being revealed. Her work as a bodyguard was due to unavoidable circumstances, and Kang Minjun was someone she had to avoid. The twist of fate that entangled her with him completely upended her plans. She had to keep her past and hidden secrets from everyone, especially Kang Minjun. She had to stay away from him, but tonight, she saved him, and his gaze was already fixed on her. She felt like she was caught in an inescapable trap. Her complex inner turmoil sank into deep darkness. Just then, Heirin stepped forward. Positioning herself next to Minjun, she began to speak in a calm voice. Executive Director Lee Hyunwoo, if you are curious about my past, I will tell you myself. In the dark pre-dawn hours, Kang Minjun sat in his study. Outside, the rain still fell, but his mind was swirling with the shocking events of last night. He toyed with the whiskey glass in his hand, gazing out the window. Last night, he had been at death's door, and the one who saved him was an unexpected person. The small female bodyguard named Team Leader Go. All the director's gazes turned to Heirin. Minjun looked at her worriedly, unsure of what she was about to say. Hyunwoo was flustered by Heirin's action and tried to stop her. In his mind, Heirin's composure and overwhelming combat skills in the midst of a hail of bullets kept replaying. She displayed abilities that seemed almost cinematic, surreal. No male bodyguard, not even his longtime security chief, could have responded so calmly and effectively in such a situation. He felt an intense aura emanating from her, something beyond merely an exceptional bodyguard. Her presence was powerful enough to shake his cool rationality. Team leader, Go, what are you saying? Don't act recklessly, Hyunwoo shouted. Go, Heirin, huh? Minjun muttered her name softly. He checked her profile again. Special Forces background, experience with a private military contractor PMC overseas. Despite a brief career, her impressive resume backed up her abilities. But there was a unique energy about her that the reports couldn't explain. A mystique, as if she wore a mask. But Hyrin ignored Hyunwoo's words. She calmly addressed the directors. My name is Go Hyrin. I was once the only daughter of Go Group, and I lost everything due to the schemes of Taesung Group and Executive Director Lee Hyunwoo. After a long deliberation, Minjun called his chief secretary, Secretary Lee, assigned team leader, Go as my personal bodyguard. At Hyrin's shocking confession, the boardroom immediately buzzed with commotion. Minjun looked back at her in astonishment. He was deeply shocked by the fact that Go Group's daughter, his fiancée, was none other than his closest bodyguard. Go Hyrin! His mind was entangled with complex thoughts. Why had she hidden her identity? Why had she approached him as a bodyguard? Secretary Lee's surprised voice came through the phone. What CEO Kang, but team leader Go is currently one of our best personnel. Hyunwoo's face turned pale at Haerin's sudden confession. It was the moment all his plans crumbled. He tried to stop Hairin from speaking, but it was too late. Precisely why she needs to be my personal bodyguard. Other personnel can be replaced, but her kind of ability is rare. Minjun's voice was firm. He had already made his decision. Make her an offer she can't refuse. Meet any conditions she sets. Bring her before me immediately. Executive Director Lee Hyun-woo and Chairman Park Tae-sung conspired to steal Go Group's technology and cause Chairman Go's death, and now they are trying to seize even Hwang Ryong Group. Hairin firmly exposed all of Hyun-woo and Chairman Park Tae-sung's schemes. She presented all the evidence she had gathered to the directors. Secretary Lee immediately sensed that Minjun's will was unbending and agreed. Minjun hung up the phone and looked out the window again. His gaze held not just curiosity, but an intense desire. He wanted to get to know her better. He wanted to unveil her mysterious shroud. The directors were aghast at Hairin's revelations. Hyunwoo struggled like a cornered rat, but the evidence was too clear. Minjun was deeply moved by Hairin's courageous disclosure. He felt heartbroken that she had grown so strong for her revenge, but at the same time, felt deep love for her righteous stance. A few days later, Hairin was summoned to Minjun's office. She was still dressed in a simple, dark suit. Her neatly tied-up hair and makeup-free face further accentuated her sharp gaze. She stood before Minjun, silently looking at him. Her expression was too composed to read any emotion. Ultimately, Hyunwoo had no choice but to admit all his crimes under pressure from the directors. He was dismissed from Hwang Ryong Group and subsequently faced a prosecution investigation. Chairman Park Tae-sung also faced unavoidable public criticism as his complicity with Hyunwoo was revealed. Hwang Ryong Group fell into temporary chaos. But thanks to Minjun's swift action and Hairin's help, they overcame the crisis. Team leader Go, please have a seat. Minjun offered her a chair, but Hairin shook her head in refusal. Minjun approached Hairin and took her hand. His eyes held both apology and deep love. Team leader. Go. No, Hairin. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Why did you try to bear everything alone? It's all right. CEO Kong, please just state your business. Her voice was low, calm, and businesslike. Hairin teared up at Minjun's warm touch. She felt all the suppressed emotions explode at once. I didn't want to put you in danger, CEO Kang. And I was afraid. Afraid that you would hate me if you knew my true identity. Minjun smiled slightly at her resolute demeanor. All right, then, let me get straight to the point. I want to hire you as my personal bodyguard. Minjun wiped away her tears and embraced her. How could I hate you? You are my savior and the woman who will be my wife. And I love you. Hairin? Hairin's eyebrow twitched ever so slightly. Her face remained expressionless, but internally, complex emotions were swirling. I should be avoiding him. Yet I'm being drawn so close. She took a deep breath. The two embraced passionately, confirming their feelings for each other. Their love was true and intense, transcending all misunderstandings and pain. In Minjun's arms, Hairin was finally able to lay down the burden of revenge she had carried for so long. Now, instead of revenge, a new future with Minjun would unfold for her. Her complex inner world found peace in his embrace. CEO Kang, I am currently part of the security team, and dedicated personal protection is not my primary area of work. Hairin stated her refusal in as objective a tone as possible. After Go Hairin's revelation and Minjun's heartfelt embrace, the two leaned on each other in a quiet corner of Hwang Ryong Group's boardroom, remaining silent for a while. Minjun buried his face in Hairin's shoulder, his heart aching as he imagined the pain and solitude she must have endured. Guilt mingled with a deep love for her in his heart. He felt apologetic that she had to bear everything alone for so long. I will meet any conditions you set, double your current salary, full discretion as a personal bodyguard, and I will spare no support you require. Minjun laid out a generous offer, as if he had anticipated her refusal. Last night, Team Leader Go's abilities were already proven. I need someone like you. Hey, Rin, you are no longer alone. I will be by your side, Minjun whispered softly, gently stroking her hair. His voice held firmness and unwavering love. Rin was silent for a moment. Her mind quickly ran calculations. Minjun's offer was hard to refuse. More importantly, refusing him in this situation might raise even greater suspicion. For her true purpose, staying by Minjun's side might even be more advantageous. Perhaps this is an opportunity, she thought. Rin finally felt a sense of stability in Minjun's warm embrace. She was able to lay down all the burdens that had weighed her down. Her true emotions, which she had hidden under the guise of revenge, finally bloomed freely in Minjun's arms. She looked up and met Minjun's eyes. His gaze was filled with boundless trust and love for her. Understood. CEO Kang, I accept your offer. Rin finally replied. However, I would like to propose a few conditions. CEO Kang, I'm sorry for hiding my true identity all this time. Rin sobbed. Speak them. Minjun looked at her with interest. Minjun placed a finger on her lips, stopping her words. No, you saved my life, and you saved Hwangryong Group. I should be the one thanking you. We will overcome the past misunderstandings and wounds together. Rin did not shy away from Hunwoo's gaze. Her eyes were resolute, and within them lay a weighty warning message. Don't make any reckless moves. I know everything. That's what she was saying. Hyunwoo felt a chilling aura from her eyes and instinctively took a step back. Thus, the two confirmed their feelings for each other and promised a new beginning. However, many problems still lay ahead of them. Lee Hyunwoo and Chairman Park Tae-sung's remaining factions would undoubtedly still be targeting Hwangryong Group, and the responsibility remained for them to fully uncover the truth about Go Group's tragedy and bring about justice. First, I will not involve myself in personal matters outside of protection. Second, I will not be interfered with regarding my operational methods. Third, all my actions will prioritize CEO Kang's safety above all else. If these three conditions are guaranteed, I will become CEO Kang's personal bodyguard. After returning home, Minjun and Rin talked late into the night. Rin told him her entire story, from the tragic downfall of Go Group, her father's death, to her vow of revenge against Taesung Group and Lee Hyunwoo. Minjun was shocked and enraged as he listened to her story. He empathized even more with Rin's pain, thinking of his grandfather's long friendship with Chairman Go. There was no room for compromise in Rin's voice. She was drawing a clear line. Minjun was once again impressed by her resolve. He accepted all her conditions. Very well, I will have the contract prepared. I never imagined Hyunwoo would go that far. He was my cousin, Minjun said with a bitter voice. From that day on, Rin became Minjun's shadow. She stayed by his side from morning until late at night. His commute, business meetings, even personal appointments. She was always out of his sight, but she watched his every move. Her presence gave Minjun an inexplicable sense of security. Power and greed turned people into devils. CEO Kang, Executive Director Lee Hyunwoo had been on that path for a long time. Rin said firmly, but it's not over yet. We must make Executive Director Lee Hyunwoo and Chairman Park Tae-sung pay for their deeds. And we must restore Go Group's honor. Yet, Minjun felt an unknown wall between them. Rin was always professional and perfect, but nothing more. Her gaze was always sharp, and her expression rarely changed. He tried to engage her in conversation, but she cut off discussions with short, concise answers. She was like an impregnable fortress. Minjun nodded at Rin's words. His eyes held a resolute will for justice, instead of vengeance. That's right. We must bring them to justice, and we must expose all their wrongdoings to the world. Team leader, go. You can rest during break times. You don't always need to maintain such a high state of alert, Minjun once said to her. They were sitting in the Hwangryong Group's headquarters cafe. Minjun was drinking coffee, and Rin was sitting about 5 meters away, observing her surroundings. The two formulated a strategy together. Rin handed over all the information and evidence she had gathered to Minjun recording files, documents, and records of Hyun Woo and Chairman Park Tae-sung's secret meetings obtained through her informants. All of this constituted decisive evidence to prove their guilt. It's fine, CEO Kang. My mission is 24/7. Haerin replied without even meeting his gaze. Minjun was astonished by Haerin's meticulous preparation. She was not merely a bodyguard. She was an excellent strategist and intelligence analyst. He finally realized why his grandfather had held Go Group's daughter in such high regard. Minjun gave a wry smile at her stubbornness. He had investigated her past, but her background was eerily clean, as if thoroughly erased. Beyond her special forces and PMC experience, no personal information could be found. She had hidden all traces, as if she had never existed. This fact only heightened Minjun's suspicion. Haerin, if it weren't for you, I would have lost everything. Thank you, Minjun said, taking her hand. Who exactly is this woman? Why is she trying to hide everything about herself? We are together. CEO Kong, you no longer have to fight alone. Haerin clasped Minjun's hand and smiled warmly. Her smile gave Minjun new hope and courage. Despite his suspicions about her, Minjun's trust in her deepened with time. Haerin demonstrated abilities beyond that of a mere bodyguard. She detected and neutralized threats that Minjun hadn't even perceived beforehand. On one occasion, she had spotted suspicious movements at a charity event Minjun was scheduled to attend and swiftly arranged for the venue to be changed. It was later revealed that a bomb targeting Minjun had been planted at the original venue. Haerin's keen intuition and swift judgment had saved his life once again. The two decided to report Lee Hyun-woo and Chairman Park Tae-sung's corruption allegations to the prosecution. However, they did not move recklessly. Chairman Park Tae-sung was a magnate in the business world, and countless political and business figures were entangled in his grasp. A perfect plan and irrefutable evidence were needed to bring him down. From that day forward, Minjun came to rely on Haerin even more. He trusted her judgment implicitly and followed her instructions. Haerin moved like a shadow by his side, protecting him from threats. Her presence deeply infiltrated Minjun's daily life, and he now felt as though he couldn't spend a single day without her. Haerin suggested the most effective method to Minjun. We must target their biggest weakness. Their biggest weakness is Hwangryong Group's new technology investment project. Executive Director Lee Hyun-woo tried to hand over this project to Tae-sung Group, and he used illegal means in the process. We must publicize this fact to induce a high-level investigation by the prosecution. Haerin, too, saw other facets of Minjun while guarding him. He was a sharp and charismatic CEO, but also possessed a warm and humane side. He genuinely cared for his employees and couldn't tolerate injustice. His gaze was sometimes sharp, but, at other times, deep in thought and contemplation. She began to see him not merely as a subject of her mission, but as a human being. Minjun nodded at Haerin's suggestion. That's a good idea. However, publicizing it through the media could be risky. They might destroy evidence or counterattack us, especially when Minjun struggled alone. She silently stood by his side. Although she said nothing, her mere presence was a great comfort to Minjun. She felt increasingly tied to him by an inescapable thread. The name Kang Minjun slowly, but deeply, began to take root in her heart. That's why we must move even more meticulously. Before reporting to the media, we must already hand over all the evidence to the prosecution, and we must ensure that the prosecution begins its investigation simultaneously with the media report. We must not give them time to destroy evidence. Haerin's eyes gleamed with cold rationality. One evening, Minjun remained at the office late. Haerin waited silently outside his office. Outside, autumn rain gently fell. Minjun sighed wearily, gazing out the window. His nerves were frayed from trying to uncover the truth behind the conspiracy surrounding him. The two acted according to Haerin's plan. Minjun mobilized his secretarial office and legal team to prepare all necessary documents for the prosecution's investigation. Haerin, through her informants, monitored all of Chairman Park Tae-sung and Lee Hyun-woo's movements. She anticipated that they would try to cover up their crimes in any way possible. Suddenly, the office door quietly opened. It was Haerin. She carried a small thermos and a cup. CEO Kang, please have a warm cup of tea. It will help with your late-night work. A few days later, Minjun and Haerin headed to the prosecutor's office. They submitted all the evidence they had gathered to the prosecution. The prosecution was shocked by the vast amount of evidence submitted by Minjun and Haerin. In particular, The recorded conversation between Hyun-woo and Chairman Park Tae-sung from the villa, which Hyrin had obtained, was decisive evidence that clearly proved their guilt. Min-jun looked at her in surprise. Team leader, go. You even bother with such things. The prosecution immediately launched an investigation into Chairman Park Tae-sung and Lee Hyun-woo. However, they still wielded powerful influence. As soon as the prosecution's investigation began, Chairman Park Tae-sung mobilized all his connections to obstruct the investigation. He spread defamatory articles about Min-jun and Hyrin through the media and put pressure on the prosecution internally. Hyrin silently poured the tea and handed it to Min-jun. Her touch was delicate and gentle. Min-jun took the warm teacup and looked at her face. In the dim light, her profile seemed much softer and more human than usual. An inexplicable emotion bloomed in his chest. A warm, subtle feeling that transcended the simple relationship of employer and bodyguard. CEO Kang Min-jun frames his cousin and tries to monopolize Hwang Group. Team leader, go! Why did you become a bodyguard? Min-jun asked, almost without realizing it. Go Hyrin is a person with an unclear past, manipulating CEO Kang Min-jun. Hyrin paused for a moment. Her eyes seemed to waver, but then settled back into calm. I had something I needed to do, and security was the most efficient way to achieve it. Her answer was still ambiguous, but Min-jun didn't press further. He knew she wouldn't easily open up about her story. As such articles poured out, public opinion fell into confusion. Min-jun was enraged by the accusations against him and Hyrin, but Hyrin remained calm. But that night, Min-jun saw a new side of Hyrin, the human warmth hidden behind her cold exterior. And Hyrin felt a sense of stability by Min-jun's side that she hadn't experienced before. Her inner world swayed complexly between the rational judgment that she had to distance herself from him and the emotional pull that increasingly drew her to him. They were gradually, but deeply, permeating each other's lives. Unaware of each other's true identities, they were becoming entangled in the threads of fate. CEO Kang, this is what we expected. They will use every means to cover up their crimes, but we will no longer be deceived by them. Hyrin comforted Min-jun. After the ambush last night, Kang Min-jun felt a deep sense of relief that his security was solely entrusted to Go Hyrin. He no longer doubted her abilities. Instead, he grew accustomed to the profound sense of stability her presence provided. However, a corner of his mind was still filled with questions about the previous night's incident. Who was targeting him? And why? To consider it merely the work of a business rival felt too organized and cruel. The two decided to directly address the media and reveal the truth. Min-jun held a press conference, and Hyrin stood by his side. The press conference hall was packed with numerous reporters. Min-jun instructed Hyrin to conduct a thorough investigation into the events of last night. Team leader, go. We must uncover the masterminds behind last night's incident. We need to find the truth, by any means necessary. His voice carried firmness along with a hint of vengeance. Min-jun took the microphone and calmly began to speak. Today, I wish to reveal all the truth surrounding Hwang Group. My cousin, Executive Director Lee Hyun-woo, and Chairman Park Tae-sung of Tae-sung Group conspired to steal Hwang Group's new technology and to eliminate me. In the process, they caused the death of Chairman Go of Go Group and forcibly merged Go Group. Hyrin nodded. Understood. CEO Kang, I've already initiated the preliminary investigation. We are identifying the characteristics of the suspects based on on-site evidence and witness statements. Her reports, as always, were concise and clear. Min-jun's shocking statement caused a stir in the press conference hall. Min-jun then released all the evidence provided by Hyrin to the media, and he introduced Hyrin, holding her hand. Although she received Min-jun's instructions, dozens of pieces of information had been fitting together in her mind since the day of the incident. While protecting Min-jun, she covertly began gathering information on Hwang Group's security systems, internal personnel, and Min-jun's key business rivals. Her past career was optimized for conducting this type of investigation. She moved like a shadow, digging for information without anyone knowing. And this is team leader Go Hyrin. She is the only daughter of Go Group and my fiancé. She saved my life twice from mortal danger and risked everything to uncover the conspiracy of Executive Director Lee Hyun-woo and Chairman Park Tae-sung. She has fought a lonely battle to restore Go Group's honor and realize justice. Min-jun began to investigate the masterminds himself. He mobilized his secretarial office and legal team to examine all possibilities linked to the incident. The first thing that came to mind was Huang Ryong Group's recent large-scale investment project in new technologies. This project was clearly poised to bring enormous profits, while also attracting the envy and scrutiny of many competitors. Min Jun began to scrutinize the main rival companies. When Heyrin's true identity and her actions were revealed to the media, reporters were in shock. Flashbulbs went off, and reporters bombarded them with questions. After several days of investigation, Min Jun discovered an interesting fact. Some of the weapons used in last night's attack were linked to an illegal arms trafficking organization that had previously driven a small and medium-sized enterprise SME into bankruptcy. That SME had once been a subcontractor for Huang Ryong Group, but had suddenly gone out of business for unknown reasons. Min Jun summoned Kim Sang-moo, who had been the head of Huang Ryong Group's security team at the time, and questioned him about the circumstances. Team leader Go, why did you hide your identity until now? Executive Director Kim, as the former head of the security team, do you know anything about the bankruptcy of that SME? Min Jun asked, staring directly at Kim Sang-moo. Is the engagement with CEO Kong true? Kim Sang-moo showed clear signs of discomfort. CEO Kong. That was a long time ago. Our security team understood that it was concluded through normal procedures at the time, but his voice carried an undertone of unease. Hye-rin firmly held Min Jun's hand and calmly faced the reporters. I inevitably hid my identity to restore my family's honor and to protect CEO Kang's safety. And the engagement with CEO Kang is a fact promised by our grandfathers, Chairman Kang and Chairman Go. Min Jun sensed something suspicious in his demeanor. Normal procedures, but the CEO of that bankrupt company died in a mysterious accident, and his family is still suffering, unable to uncover the truth. It seems it wasn't a simple business failure. Just then, there was a sudden commotion from the back of the press conference hall. Lee Hyun-woo, accompanied by bodyguards, had burst into the press conference. His face was contorted with anger and fear. Kim Sang-moo stammered, unable to continue. Min Jun felt a greater suspicion in his silence. He instructed his chief secretary to conduct an internal audit of Kim Sang-moo. Hye-rin watched this entire process silently from Min Jun's side. She instinctively knew that Min Jun was getting closer to the essence of the case. It's a lie. It's all a lie. Kang Min Jun, go Hye-rin. You're framing me? Hyun-woo shouted, charging towards Min Jun and Hye-rin. As Min Jun proceeded with his investigation, he gradually realized that it was not merely the work of external forces, the sophistication of last night's attack, and the perfect understanding of Huang Ryong Group's internal information solidified his conviction that an insider was involved. He looked around his circle again. Family, relatives, and longtime trusted associates. Among them, the most suspicious figure was his cousin, Lee Hyun-woo. Hye-rin hid Min Jun behind her and confronted Hyun-woo's bodyguards. Her movements were swift and precise. She swiftly subdued several bodyguards and approached Hyun-woo. Lee Hyun-woo was the same age as Min Jun and another potential successor to Huang Ryong Group. He possessed a sharp mind and ambition, but was also consumed by jealousy and a lust for power. Min Jun had always been wary of Hyun-woo's ambitions, but he never imagined that Hyun-woo would try to kill him. Executive Director Lee Hyun-woo, it's over now. All your crimes have already been exposed to the world. There's nowhere left to run. Hye-rin's voice was firm. Min Jun ordered Hye-rin to conduct a discreet investigation into Hyun-woo. Team leader, go. Please investigate Lee Hyun-woo discreetly. We need to thoroughly ascertain his recent activities, financial status, and contacts. Hyun-woo felt a chilling aura from Hye-rin's eyes and instinctively took a step back. In a final act of desperation, he lunged at Min Jun. A small knife glinted in his hand. Hye-rin began investigating Hyun-woo as per Min Jun's instructions. She conducted a far more in-depth investigation than Min Jun had anticipated. Her excellent information-gathering abilities uncovered Hyun-woo's covert activities one by one. Hyun-woo had, in recent months, attempted to leak key information related to Min Jun's new technology investment project to external competitors, and at the same time, was trying to manipulate Huang Ryong Group's stock price. Furthermore, he was deeply involved in the SME bankruptcy case years ago. He had resorted to illegal means to usurp the SME's technology, and in the process, colluded with Kim Sang-moo, who was then the head of the security team. Kang Min Jun, you just need to disappear, Hyun-woo, with madness in his eyes, tried to stab Min Jun to death. Hye-rin realized that Hyun-woo was not merely aiming for Min Jun's position, but was orchestrating a massive conspiracy to seize control of the entire Hwang group. She detected another shadow behind Hyunwoo Park Tae-sung, a powerful business magnate and Hyunwoo's prospective father-in-law, the chairman of Tae-sung Group. Park Tae-sung had historically been a rival of Hwang Group and harbored ambitions to absorb Hwang Group through this opportunity. Minjun's body froze at Hyunwoo's unexpected attack, but Haerin had already anticipated Hyunwoo's movements. With lightning speed, she grabbed Hyunwoo's arm and twisted his body, subduing him to the floor. The knife clattered to the ground. Haerin did not immediately report this to Minjun. She judged that there was still insufficient conclusive evidence. The relationship between Hyunwoo and Chairman Park Tae-sung went beyond a son-in-law and father-in-law. It was entangled in a vast, dark network. Acting hastily could risk a counterattack, putting both herself and Minjun in greater danger. She needed to devise a more meticulous plan. Hyunwoo knelt, overwhelmed by Haerin's overwhelming strength. His face was filled with frustration and fear. Minjun's life was saved once again thanks to Haerin's actions. He was deeply moved by her courage and sacrifice. Meanwhile, as Minjun spent more time with Haerin, he felt his feelings for her deepen. He began to see the vulnerability and loneliness hidden beneath her cold exterior. She was a perfect bodyguard, yet she seemed to carry a personal pain as a human being. He felt an inexplicable emotional stir as he watched her reviewing documents alone late into the night or quietly reading a book. The police arrived and arrested Hyunwoo, and the press conference hall was once again filled with flashing cameras. Minjun and Haerin held hands and calmly answered all the reporters' questions. They revealed their true love and firm commitment to justice to the world. One evening, Minjun and Haerin were returning from an external appointment. The chief secretary had already left for another engagement, and only Minjun and Haerin remained in the car. It was already dark outside, and the city lights flashed by. This incident caused a huge ripple effect throughout the business world and society. Chairman Park Tae-sung eventually couldn't avoid the prosecution's investigation, and Tae-sung Group suffered a severe blow. Lee Hyunwoo received appropriate punishment for his crimes. Hwang Group overcame all crises through Minjun and Haerin's efforts, becoming a stronger and more respected company. Team leader Go. Aren't you tired? Minjun asked softly. Haerin, gripping the steering wheel, shook her head. I'm fine. CEO Kong, my mission is… Not your mission, but your personal feelings. Minjun cut her off. You're human too. You don't always have to be so strong. Haerin shed tears at Minjun's warm kiss. She had finally completed her revenge and, at the same time, found true love. Her life was no longer trapped in darkness. Now, a bright and hopeful future with Minjun would unfold before her. Their love, strengthened by overcoming all adversities, grew even deeper. Haerin fell silent for a moment. A tiny tremor passed through her eyes. No one had ever said such words to her before. She had always had to be strong. Showing weakness was a luxury she couldn't afford. Following Park Jun-hyuk's arrest and the downfall of Tae-sung Group, Kang Minjun and Go Hae-rin's lives seemed to finally settle into a peaceful trajectory. However, their relationship still carried unresolved threads. Before Hae-rin revealed her true identity, Minjun merely thought of her as an exceptional bodyguard. He admired her abilities, relied on her, and was drawn to her by an unknown emotion. Yet, the moment he learned she was his fiancée and the only daughter of Go Group, a family with a long-standing connection to his own, complex emotions intertwined in his heart. I'm fine, she replied coldly again. But a subtle tremor was in her voice. Minjun wanted to know why Hae-rin had hidden her true identity for so long, and why she had approached him as a bodyguard. He wanted to hear her true story. Hae-rin, too, wished to confess everything to Minjun, but the weight of the secrets she had accumulated weighed her down. She feared that Minjun might hate her, or think that she had used him for her revenge. Minjun sensed her tremor. He almost reached out to place a hand on her shoulder but hesitated. He knew she wasn't used to expressing her emotions. He quietly spoke again. Team leader, Go. You are more than just a bodyguard to me. You are my savior and my closest confidant. One evening, the two sat facing each other in Minjun's mansion study. Candlelight flickered softly, warmly illuminating the room. Minjun took Hae-rin's hand and looked into her eyes. His gaze held curiosity along with deep understanding. Hae-rin gasped, gripping the steering wheel tightly at Minjun's words. Her heart began to pound rapidly. She had to stay away from him, but his warm words shook her fortress-like heart. She was increasingly falling into an emotional abyss from which she couldn't escape. Hyrin, please tell me everything now. Why you had to hide your true identity all this time, why you had to become my bodyguard. I want to understand everything about you. Minjun's voice was gentle, yet contained an earnest desire to know the truth. The next day, Hye-rin received information that Hyunwoo would be holding a secret meeting at Chairman Park Tae-sung's villa. She instinctively knew this was an opportunity to secure crucial evidence. Without informing Minjun, she headed to the villa alone. She risked everything to infiltrate the villa. Hye-rin took a deep breath. She began to speak, as if pouring out all the emotions she had suppressed. She told Minjun her entire story, from the tragic downfall of Go Group, her father's death, to her resolve for revenge against Tae-sung Group and Lee Hyun-woo. She meticulously explained how she underwent special training, how she became a bodyguard and approached Minjun's side, and how she uncovered Hwang Ryong Group's internal corruption and stopped Hyun-woo's conspiracy. The villa was surrounded by tight security, but Hae-rin's infiltration skills were so exceptional that she could bypass any security system. She moved like a shadow, avoiding surveillance cameras and guards. She reached the meeting room inside the villa and overheard the conversation between Hyun-woo and Chairman Park Tae-sung. When I first met you, CEO Kang, I thought you were also involved in their wrongdoings. So I approached you to uncover the truth and complete my revenge at the same time. Hae-rin honestly confessed her past. However, as I spent time with you, I saw your true self. CEO Kang, you were a righteous and warm person. That made me even more confused. I constantly struggled between my desire for revenge and my feelings for you. Hwang Ryong Group's new technology investment project will soon fall into Tae-sung Group's hands. Chairman, Hyun-woo said, flattering Chairman Park. Kang Min-jun has already fallen into the trap we set. He will make the wrong decisions. Misled by the informants we've planted, Min-jun held Hae-rin's hand even tighter as he listened to her story. Guilt and regret mingled in his heart. He was heartbroken that Hae-rin had to endure so much alone for so long. He imagined the pain and loneliness she must have experienced, and tears welled in his eyes. Very well done, Hyun-woo. That Kang Min-jun is too naive to fall so easily. Chairman Park smiled triumphantly. Now Hwang Ryong Group will become a subsidiary of our Tae-sung Group, and you, my obedient puppet, will be its president. Hae-rin, I never imagined you went through so much hardship. You are truly a strong person. And you carried a much greater pain than I could have imagined, Minjun said, wiping away her tears. I never resent you for hiding the truth from me. Instead, I am sorry for not knowing your pain. Hae-rin crouched low, recording their conversation. She was horrified as she confirmed the reality of their sordid conspiracy. They were not merely trying to seize Hwang Ryong Group. They intended to completely ruin Minjun. She was filled with rage but maintained her composure. She believed securing the evidence was paramount. Hae-rin shed tears at Minjun's warm words. She felt a deep sense of relief that he understood and forgave her. The last bit of anxiety in her heart seemed to disappear. But then, a faint noise came from her recording device. Hyun-woo and Chairman Park looked up, scanning their surroundings. CEO Kang, thank you for understanding everything about me. Hae-rin sobbed in Minjun's embrace. Who's there? Hyun-woo shouted. Minjun held her tightly, stroking her hair. From now on, we will no longer keep secrets from each other. We will heal the wounds of the past together and build a new future. I promise. Hae-rin instinctively knew her position had been compromised. Without hesitation, she sprang out of the meeting room. The alarm blared throughout the villa, and guards rushed in from all directions. Hae-rin, with the recording safely secured, skillfully subdued the guards and escaped the villa. She narrowly got out, but dozens of guards were in hot pursuit. Tension was etched on Hae-rin's face, but her gaze remained resolute. She now had to do more than just protect Minjun. She had to protect everything he had. The burden of responsibility on her shoulders grew heavier. Thus, the two confirmed their sincerity, healing all past misunderstandings and wounds. Their love grew stronger, overcoming all adversities. Minjun formally proposed to Hae-rin, and she tearfully accepted his proposal. Even after escaping Chairman Park Tae-sung's villa, Go Hae-rin ran through the darkness for a while. Her body was soaked by the sharp rain, but her spirit burned intensely with anger and responsibility. The recording file was safely secured, but Hyun-woo and Chairman Park's vigilance would undoubtedly be at its peak. Now, she had to move even more cautiously and meticulously. However, their happiness was short-lived as another unexpected problem stood in their way. Chairman Park Tae-sung still tried to exert his influence even from prison. He filed a lawsuit to invalidate Hwang Group's new technology patents and, at the same time, launched a smear campaign to obstruct Min-jun and Hae-rin's engagement. He feared that if Min-jun and Hae-rin married, all the assets of Hwang Group and Go Group would merge, making them even more powerful. She debated whether to immediately report this to Min-jun, but she hesitated. If she reported it now, Min-jun would undoubtedly react emotionally. To confront Hyun-woo's deeply rooted influence within Hwang Group and the formidable external force of Taesung Group, a cool-headed strategy was needed more than an emotional response. She decided that she needed to devise a more perfect plan to keep Min-jun from getting caught up and to ensure his safety. Chairman Park Tae-sung, through his lawyers, manipulated public opinion by claiming that Min-jun and Hae-rin's engagement was an arranged marriage, and that Go Hae-rin had approached Min-jun for his wealth. The media once again raised controversy over their engagement, and some negative public opinion began to form. The next morning, Hae-rin stood before Min-jun's office as if nothing had happened. There was no trace of the previous night's fierce battle on her face. She was, as always, calm and professional. Min-jun smiled as he saw her. CEO Kang Min-jun arranged marriage with Go Group's daughter. Team leader Go. Did you sleep well last night? Thanks to you. I had a good night's sleep for the first time in a while. Min-jun felt relieved that the forces targeting him had been quiet since Hae-rin's actions last night. Go, Hae-rin, seeking to enter a chaebol family out of revenge. Don't mention it. I was just doing my job. Hae-rin replied briefly, bowing her head. As such articles poured out, Min-jun and Hae-rin faced another crisis. They were heartbroken that their true love was being misunderstood and tarnished. Min-jun was slightly disappointed by her unchanging demeanor, but soon nodded. He was growing accustomed to her inscrutable attitude. He knew nothing of what had transpired at the villa last night. Hae-rin, all of this is because of me. I'm sorry if I'm hurting you, Min-jun said. Seeing Hae-rin struggling with the media attacks, Min-jun continued his investigation into Hyun-woo. Through his secretarial office, he meticulously reviewed Hyun-woo's financial statements and recent business contracts. During this, Min-jun discovered something unusual in an investment contract that Hyun-woo had secretly been pursuing with Taesung Group. The terms of the contract itself were highly disadvantageous to Hwang Group. As he examined the contract closely, he found a small logo embossed in one corner. It was an unfamiliar logo, yet it felt somehow familiar. Hae-rin took Min-jun's hand. No, CEO Kang. We will overcome this together. They will never break our love. Min-jun searched for the logo and, to his surprise, found that it was the emblem of Go Group, a company that had a long-standing relationship with Hwang Group. Go Group was once a major partner of Hwang Group, and Min-jun's grandfather had cherished it during his lifetime. However, it had vanished from the market a few years ago due to sudden financial difficulties. The two decided to confront Chairman Park Tae-sung's schemes. They directly addressed the media, clarifying that their love was not an arranged marriage, and directly countered Chairman Park Tae-sung's malicious rumors. Min-jun held a press conference, with Hae-rin by his side. Go Group! Min-jun muttered softly. He remembered seeing an old photograph of Go Group's founder and his grandfather together while organizing his grandfather's belongings. In the photo, the two elderly men smiled warmly, and two young children stood behind them. One of the children was clearly himself as a boy, and the other was a girl of similar age. My engagement with team leader Go Hae-rin is not an arranged marriage. We truly love each other, and our love is strong enough to overcome any adversity, Min-jun said firmly. Chairman Park Tae-sung is orchestrating these vile schemes to cover up his crimes and hinder our happiness. We will never be swayed by his lies. Min-jun instructed his chief secretary to conduct a detailed investigation into Go Group. He had a hunch that there might be a connection between Go Group's sudden bankruptcy and the disadvantageous contract Hyun-woo was currently pursuing with Taesung Group. And his hunch was correct. Hae-rin held Min-jun's hand, supporting his words. I truly love CEO Kang Min-jun. My revenge is already complete. Now, my only goal in life is to build a happy future with CEO Kang Min-jun. A few days later, the chief secretary presented a shocking report. CEO Kang. Go Group was forcibly merged by an affiliate of Taesung Group a few years ago. and it appears that illegal pressure and stock price manipulation were involved in that process. Chairman Go, who was the CEO of Go Group at the time, passed away due to deteriorating health from the shock. The sincere confession of the two deeply resonated with the media and the public. People were moved by their love and angered by Chairman Park Tae-sung's despicable schemes. Public opinion once again sided with Min-jun and Hye-rin. Min-jun clenched his jaw as he read the report. Tae-sung Group and Hyun-woo. Their conspiracy was far deeper and more insidious than Min-jun had imagined. He reread the report's contents, then discovered a sentence at the very end. Chairman Go of Go Group had an only daughter, and Chairman Kang Min-jun's grandfather and Chairman Go had promised their 2 children in marriage. However, Chairman Park Tae-sung did not give up. He orchestrated another scheme to pressure Min-jun in the lawsuit regarding Hwangryong Group's new technology patents. He forged an important document containing Hwangryong Group's core technology information and submitted it to the court. If this document were recognized as genuine, Hwangryong Group would lose its new technology patents and incur massive losses. Min-jun stood up abruptly, shocked. What an engagement between me and Go Group's daughter. He couldn't believe his ears. He had absolutely no knowledge of such a fact. His grandfather had never mentioned it to him. He recalled the girl in the old photograph he had seen among his grandfather's belongings. Could that girl be? Min-jun and Hye-rin were dismayed by Chairman Park Tae-sung's new attack. They were enraged upon learning that the forged document had been submitted to the court. Hye-rin meticulously reviewed the data day and night to uncover the authenticity of the forged document. She needed to figure out what methods Chairman Park Tae-sung had used to forge the document. He searched his memories. A faint memory of visiting Go Group's villa with his grandfather when he was a child surfaced. The memory of playing briefly with a girl his age there. But he couldn't recall the girl's name or face at all. It was from when he was too young, and Go Group had disappeared so suddenly afterward that he had completely forgotten the memory. Hye-rin's exceptional analytical skills uncovered the flaws in the forged document one by one. She discovered subtle errors in the special printing technology and font used in the document, and she found evidence that Chairman Park Tae-sung had commissioned an external company for the document forgery, and that the company had secretly contracted with Tae-sung Group. Min-jun was confused. He hadn't known that his future wife existed, and for that future wife to be the daughter of Go Group, who had suffered tragedy at the hands of Tae-sung Group, all of this felt like a terrible nightmare. Complex emotions swirled within him: guilt, anger, and an inexplicable confusion. CEO Kang, this document is forged. I have found all the evidence. Chairman Park Tae-sung is lying even in court to cover up his crimes. Hye-rin showed Min-jun the evidence she had found. He immediately called for Hye-rin. Hye-rin responded to Min-jun's summons and entered his office. She instantly recognized the complex emotions on Min-jun's face. What happened? She wondered, but showed no outward sign. Min-jun was impressed by Hye-rin's efforts. He realized once again what a great gift she was in his life. The two stood in court with the evidence Hye-rin had found. They proved that Chairman Park Tae-sung's forged document was false and protected Hwangryong Group's new technology patents. Team leader, go! I have something to tell you. Min-jun motioned for her to sit. He handed the report related to Go Group to Hye-rin. Read this report. Chairman Park Tae-sung ultimately had no choice but to admit all his crimes in court. He was additionally charged with document forgery, and his sentence was further extended. The complete downfall of Chairman Park Tae-sung caused a huge ripple effect in the business world, and Hwangryong Group, under the leadership of Min-jun and Hye-rin, became an even stronger and more respected company. Hye-rin calmly accepted the report. Her gaze quickly scanned its contents. Her eyes were unwavering, but her hand trembled subtly. It's coming, she thought to herself. She had anticipated that Min-jun would learn this fact, but she hadn't expected it to happen so abruptly. Min-jun and Hye-rin overcame all adversities and finally found happiness. They healed each other's wounds, supported each other, and completed their true love. Their love ushered in a new era for Hwangryong Group and gave hope and courage to many people. Now they were no longer just a CEO and a bodyguard. They were each other's strongest companions and everything in their lives. Their love was a true love that transcended everything. The last line of the report, Chairman Go of Go Group had an only daughter, and Chairman Kang and Chairman Go had promised their 2 children in marriage. This sentence struck Hye-rin like a terrible dagger. She looked up and met Min-jun's gaze. His eyes were full of confusion and questioning. Following Park Jun-hyuk's arrest and the downfall of Taesung Group, Kang Min-jun and Go Hye-rin's lives seemed to finally settle into a peaceful trajectory. However, their relationship still carried unresolved threads. Before Hye-rin revealed her true identity, Min-jun merely thought of her as an exceptional bodyguard. He admired her abilities, relied on her, and was drawn to her by an unknown emotion. Yet, the moment he learned she was his fiancée and the only daughter of Go Group, a family with a long-standing connection to his own, complex emotions intertwined in his heart. Team leader, Go. I had no idea about this. My grandfather never mentioned it to me. Perhaps he, too, tried to forget this engagement after the tragedy of Go Group. Min-jun muttered to himself, I don't know what to do now. The daughter of Go Group, who lost everything to Taesung Group, is supposed to be my wife. Min-jun wanted to know why Hye-rin had hidden her true identity for so long and why she had approached him as a bodyguard. He wanted to hear her true story. Hye-rin, too, wished to confess everything to Min-jun, but the weight of the secrets she had accumulated weighed her down. She feared that Min-jun might hate her or think that she had used him for her revenge. Hye-rin couldn't speak. Her lips were tightly sealed. She didn't know what to say at this moment. Should she reveal her true identity or should she remain silent until the end? Her inner world was engulfed in a fierce storm. One evening, the two sat facing each other in Min-jun's mansion study. Candlelight flickered softly, warmly illuminating the room. Min-jun took Hye-rin's hand and looked into her eyes. His gaze held curiosity along with deep understanding. Min-jun lowered his head and looked at the report again. Team leader, Go. With your information-gathering abilities, you should be able to find out where Go Group's daughter is currently. I'm concerned about her safety. Taesung Group might not leave her alone. His voice was filled with worry. Hye-rin, please tell me everything now. Why you had to hide your true identity all this time. Why you had to become my bodyguard. I want to understand everything about you. Min-jun's voice was gentle, yet contained an earnest desire to know the truth. Hye-rin's heart sank even further at Min-jun's words. Min-jun was worried about his future wife, but he had no idea that she was that very person. She avoided Min-jun's gaze and replied softly, Understood, CEO Kong. I will try to find information about Go Group's daughter as soon as possible. Hye-rin took a deep breath. She began to speak, as if pouring out all the emotions she had suppressed. She told Min-jun her entire story, from the tragic downfall of Go Group, her father's death, to her resolve for revenge against Taesung Group and Lee Hyun-woo. She meticulously explained how she underwent special training, how she became a bodyguard and approached Min-jun's side, and how she uncovered Hwang Ryong Group's internal corruption and stopped Hyun-woo's conspiracy. Her voice was so calm that Min-jun didn't notice the intense conflict raging within her. Hye-rin left the office and walked down the corridor. Her steps were heavy, and her mind was in turmoil. She was Min-jun's bodyguard, the one who had to protect him. But at the same time, she was his fiancée, whom he did not know. This complex relationship shook her to her core. When I first met you, CEO Kang, I thought you were also involved in their wrongdoings, so I approached you to uncover the truth and complete my revenge at the same time. Hye-rin honestly confessed her past. However, as I spent time with you, I saw your true self. CEO Kang, you were a righteous and warm person. That made me even more confused. I constantly struggled between my desire for revenge and my feelings for you. Min-jun approached Hye-rin and kissed her forehead. Hye-rin, you are my hero and my love. Min-jun held Hye-rin's hand even tighter as he listened to her story. Guilt and regret mingled in his heart. He was heartbroken that Hye-rin had to endure so much alone for so long. He imagined the pain and loneliness she must have experienced, and tears welled in his eyes. She was Go Hye-rin, the only daughter of Go Group, a woman who had lost her family and everything to Taesung Group's schemes, and had to become strong for revenge. She had hidden her identity and approached Min-jun's side, but her goal was solely to achieve revenge and justice. Her engagement to Min-jun was an unforeseen variable in her plans, and by spending time with him, she began to feel an undeniable attraction to him. Hey, Rin, I never imagined you went through so much hardship. You are truly a strong person, and you carried a much greater pain than I could have imagined, Min-jun said, wiping away her tears. I never resent you for hiding the truth from me. Instead, I'm sorry for not knowing your pain. She had once viewed Min-jun as one of her enemies. As the successor to Hwang Ryong Group, she considered him part of the axis of evil connected to Taesung Group. But as she spent time with him, she saw his true self. He was a righteous man who stood against injustice, and a warm person who felt compassion for the weak. She saw in him the same warmth and strength she had felt from her father. Hye-rin shed tears at Minjun's warm words. She felt a deep sense of relief that he understood and forgave her. The last bit of anxiety in her heart seemed to disappear. Now she was at a crossroads. Should she reveal her true identity and tell Minjun the truth, or should she hide it until the end and continue her revenge? Two paths clashed within her: revenge for justice and an unknown love for Minjun. She was tormented by the thought that her revenge might hurt Minjun, and she feared how Minjun would look at her if her true identity were revealed. CEO Kang, thank you for understanding everything about me. Hye-rin sobbed in Minjun's embrace. Hye-rin returned to her room and stared at her reflection in the mirror. Cold, resolute eyes. But within them lay deep pain and conflict. She faced her destiny. She was no longer just a bodyguard or a woman burning with vengeance. She was Kang Minjun's savior, his closest ally, and his unknown fiancé. In this complex tangle of fate, what choice would she make? She sighed deeply, gazing out the window. The rain had stopped, but a storm still raged in her heart. Minjun held her tightly, stroking her hair. From now on, we will no longer keep secrets from each other. We will heal the wounds of the past together and build a new future. I promise. Even after Go Hye-rin left Kang Minjun's office, Minjun's mind was a tumultuous mix of confusion and guilt regarding Go Group's daughter, his fiancée. He felt a deep sense of responsibility for having been unknowingly entangled in the tragedy of Chairman Go, his grandfather's longtime friend, and he had asked Hye-rin to find Go Group's daughter. He, unknowingly, had made the paradoxical request to his closest confidant to find his own fiancée, completely oblivious to her true identity. Thus, the two confirmed their sincerity, healing all past misunderstandings and wounds. Their love grew stronger, overcoming all adversities. Minjun formally proposed to Hye-rin, and she tearfully accepted his proposal. Minjun couldn't sleep that night. He tried desperately to recall the faint image of a little girl from his childhood memories. What did she look like? Where was she now? And what was she doing? Was she in danger? Having lost everything to Taesung Group's schemes, his mind was flooded with complex thoughts. However, their happiness was short-lived as another unexpected problem stood in their way. Chairman Park Taesung still tried to exert his influence even from prison. He filed a lawsuit to invalidate Hwangryong Group's new technology patents, and at the same time launched a smear campaign to obstruct Minjun and Hye-rin's engagement. He feared that if Minjun and Hye-rin married, all the assets of Hwangryong Group and Go Group would merge, making them even more powerful. Hye-rin's mind was even more complex. After receiving Minjun's instructions, she felt as if she was being drawn into a vast abyss. While protecting Minjun, she began to admit that her feelings for him went beyond a simple mission. His warmth beneath his strength, his resolute pursuit of justice, and the occasional glimpses of human vulnerability were melting her frozen heart. She saw the shadow of her father in him, and at the same time, felt a strong, inexplicable attraction. Chairman Park Tae-sung, through his lawyers, manipulated public opinion by claiming that Minjun and Hye-rin's engagement was an arranged marriage, and that Go Hye-rin had approached Minjun for his wealth. The media once again raised controversy over their engagement, and some negative public opinion began to form. But she couldn't reveal her identity. Her revenge was not yet complete. Retribution against Taesung Group and Lee Hyun-woo was the goal of her life. If she revealed her identity now, would Minjun condone her revenge, or would he try to stop it? In either case, her revenge plan would be disrupted, and Minjun himself could be put in danger. She feared that her revenge might bring even greater turmoil to his life. CEO Kang Minjun arranged marriage with Go Group's daughter. For several days, Hye-rin carried out her duties by Minjun's side as usual. She conducted an investigation under the guise of finding information about Go Group's daughter, but in reality, she was re-examining her own past. She recalled the young Minjun buried in her memories, a mischievous boy with dark skin and playful eyes. He was always kind to her and made her laugh. He was like the only light in her childhood, but that light disappeared with the tragedy of Go Group. Go Hye-rin, seeking to enter a chaebol family out of revenge, Minjun began to sense subtle changes behind Hye-rin's calm demeanor. She was still perfect at her job, but occasionally, she would avoid his gaze, or her expression would subtly waver when he looked at her. He vaguely speculated that she might be experiencing some emotional turmoil while investigating his fiancée. Knowing that she rarely showed her emotions, he didn't question her directly, but his gaze was always on her. As such articles poured out, Minjun and Hairin faced another crisis. They were heartbroken that their true love was being misunderstood and tarnished. One evening, Minjun attended a dinner with an important overseas investor. Hairin, as always, guarded his safety from behind him. The dinner proceeded in a friendly atmosphere, but Minjun's nerves constantly scanned his surroundings. He was plagued by the anxiety that a threat might reappear at any time. "Hey, Rin, all of this is because of me. I'm sorry if I'm hurting you," Minjun said, seeing Heyrin struggling with the media attacks. After the dinner, Minjun saw off the investor. He briefly went to the restroom, and as he was about to leave, two burly men suddenly blocked his path. Their faces were menacing, and their eyes held a chilling, murderous intent. Heyrin took Minjun's hand. "No, CEO Kang, we will overcome this together. They will never break our love." "Are you CEO Kang Minjun? Please come with us for a moment," one man said in a menacing voice. The two decided to confront Chairman Park Tae-sung's schemes. They directly addressed the media, clarifying that their love was not an arranged marriage, and directly countered Chairman Park Tae-sung's malicious rumors. Minjun held a press conference. With Heyrin by his side, Minjun was taken aback, but quickly regained his composure. "Who are you? I'm not going anywhere!" "My engagement with team leader Go Hye-rin is not an arranged marriage. We truly love each other, and our love is strong enough to overcome any adversity," Minjun said firmly. "Chairman Park Tae-sung is orchestrating these vile schemes to cover up his crimes and hinder our happiness. We will never be swayed by his lies." Just as the men were about to approach Minjun, Haekrin suddenly appeared with lightning-fast movements. She stepped between the men, shielding Minjun behind her. Her eyes gleamed with murderous intent, and a powerful aura emanated from her body. Hairin held Minjun's hand, supporting his words. "I truly love CEO Kang Minjun. My revenge is already complete. Now, my only goal in life is to build a happy future with CEO Kang Minjun. Stand down. My warning is only once." Hairin's voice was low and threatening. The sincere confession of the two deeply resonated with the media and the public. People were moved by their love and angered by Chairman Park Tae-sung's despicable schemes. Public opinion once again sided with Minjun and Hairin. The men scoffed at Hairin's small stature. "How dare a mere woman move aside, or you'll get hurt too." However, Chairman Park Tae-sung did not give up. He orchestrated another scheme to pressure Minjun in the lawsuit regarding Hwangryong Group's new technology patents. He forged an important document containing Hwangryong Group's core technology information and submitted it to the court. If this document were recognized as genuine, Hwangryong Group would lose its new technology patents and incur massive losses. But Hairin ignored their warning. She charged at the men without hesitation. Her movements were unpredictable and lethal. She twisted one man's arm, incapacitating him, and struck the other in the abdomen, bringing him down. Everything happened in an instant. The men screamed and fell, astonished by Hairin's overwhelming combat power. Minjun and Hairin were dismayed by Chairman Park Tae-sung's new attack. They were enraged upon learning that the forged document had been submitted to the court. Hairin meticulously reviewed the data day and night to uncover the authenticity of the forged document. She needed to figure out what methods Chairman Park Tae-sung had used to forge the document. Minjun watched the scene unfold before him in disbelief. He owed his life to Hairin once again. He was deeply moved by her strength and courage. In his heart, along with respect for her, an inexplicable emotion began to sprout. It was an intense attraction that went beyond mere employer-employee trust. Hairin's exceptional analytical skills uncovered the flaws in the forged document one by one. She discovered subtle errors in the special printing technology and font used in the document. And she found evidence that Chairman Park Tae-sung had commissioned an external company for the document forgery, and that the company had secretly contracted with Tae-sung Group. "Team leader, Go. Are you all right?" Minjun approached her, asking with concern and sincerity in his voice. "CEO Kang, this document is forged. I have found all the evidence. Chairman Park Tae-sung is lying even in court to cover up his crimes." Hairin showed Minjun the evidence she had found. Hairin caught her breath and nodded. Beads of sweat glistened on her face, but her eyes remained resolute. "Are you all right, CEO Kang?" Minjun was impressed by Hairin's efforts. He realized once again what a great gift she was in his life. The two stood in court with the evidence Hae-rin had found. They proved that Chairman Park Tae-sung's forged document was false and protected Hwang Ryong Group's new technology patents. "I'm fine. Thanks to you." Minjun almost put a hand on her shoulder but hesitated. He once again sensed an inexplicable wall around her. Chairman Park Tae-sung ultimately had no choice but to admit all his crimes in court. He was additionally charged with document forgery, and his sentence was further extended. The complete downfall of Chairman Park Tae-sung caused a huge ripple effect in the business world, and Hwang Ryong Group, under the leadership of Minjun and Hae-rin, became an even stronger and more respected company. After that night, Minjun couldn't take his eyes off Hae-rin. He began to be conscious of her every action, every expression, even the way she breathed. He wanted to see the true self hidden behind her cold exterior. He wanted to know her smile, her sorrow, everything about her. He was falling deeper and deeper in love with her. Minjun and Hae-rin overcame all adversities and finally found happiness. They healed each other's wounds, supported each other, and completed their true love. Their love ushered in a new era for Hwang Ryong Group and gave hope and courage to many people. Now they were no longer just a CEO and a bodyguard. They were each other's strongest companions and everything in their lives. Their love was a true love that transcended everything. Hae-rin, too, could no longer deny her feelings for Minjun. She realized that she would risk her own life to protect him. He was not the target of her revenge. Rather, he was the one she had to protect. She felt sincerity in Minjun's warm gaze and worried voice. His presence brought unexpected hope and love into her life. The complete downfall of Chairman Park Tae-sung and his final schemes exposed in court ushered in a new era for Kang Minjun and Go Hae-rin. Together, they navigated through storms, not only saving Hwang Ryong Group but also building a robust love that transcended all secrets and challenges. Now, they stood at the pinnacle of both their careers and personal happiness, ready for a radiant future. But danger still lurked around them. Hyun-woo and Chairman Park Tae-sung would undoubtedly continue their plan to eliminate Minjun. Hae-rin covertly watched their movements, preparing even more thoroughly for Minjun's safety. She constantly struggled between her love for Minjun and her desire for revenge. But his safety was more important than anything else. Minjun and Hae-rin decided to make their relationship and engagement public. A simple, warm engagement ceremony was held at Minjun's residence, attended by their closest loved ones. Photos of Minjun tenderly holding Hae-rin's hand, presenting her with the engagement ring, spread across newspapers, receiving countless blessings from the public and business circles. The dramatic love story of Hwang Ryong Group's CEO and the mysterious female bodyguard became an inspiring tale, symbolizing the power of love and justice. One afternoon, Minjun visited Hwang Ryong Group's New Technology Research Institute with Hae-rin. The institute was surrounded by state-of-the-art security systems, but Hae-rin had already familiarized herself with all movement paths in case of an unforeseen situation. While touring the institute, Minjun briefly separated from Hae-rin to speak with researchers. Hae-rin was no longer Minjun's bodyguard. She officially assumed the position of vice president of Hwang Ryong Group, overseeing the R&D and strategic security departments. With her sharp intellect, keen analytical skills, and practical experience, she helped Hwang Ryong Group solidify its leading position in the technology sector. Under their joint leadership, Hwang Ryong Group not only recovered but grew stronger than ever, expanding into international markets and investing in groundbreaking projects that serve the community. Minjun always listened to and trusted Hae-rin's every decision. Considering her an indispensable partner in both work and life, Hae-rin kept her eyes on Minjun and scanned her surroundings. That's when she saw a familiar face. It was Lee Hyun-woo, talking with researchers in a corner of the institute. Beside him stood a man known to be Chairman Park Tae-sung's right-hand man. Hae-rin instinctively knew they weren't mere visitors. Their eyes held a sinister glint. As for Lee Hyun-woo, he faced a severe sentence for illegal business collusion, market manipulation, and attempted assassination. Although a relative, Minjun decided to show no leniency, believing that justice must be thoroughly served. Hyun-woo's life ended behind bars, a price paid for the greed and arrogance that led him down a path of crime. Hae-rin quietly approached Minjun to inform him of Hyun-woo's presence. But at that moment, Hyun-woo's gaze shifted to Hae-rin. Hyun-woo's eyes widened in surprise as he saw her face. He hadn't expected her presence. Hae-rin's long-standing vendetta with Tae-sung Group was also fully resolved. After Park Tae-sung and his son Park Jun-hyuk were convicted, Taesung Group gradually lost its standing and credibility. Other large corporations seized the opportunity, progressively acquiring their subsidiaries and assets. The name Taesung Group, once prestigious, faded into oblivion as a lesson on the corruption of power and the consequences of disregarding business ethics. Hayrin restored the reputation of Go Group and her family, establishing a charitable foundation in her father's name to support small businesses and victims of business fraud. Go Hayrin! Hyunwoo muttered her name softly. His voice held confusion mixed with a chilling anger. Minjun and Hayrin dedicated time to heal their emotional wounds and build their future. They often strolled together in Minjun's garden, discussing work, life, and their dreams. Hayrin no longer had to hide herself. She freely expressed her feminine, warm side next to Minjun. Minjun also learned to express his emotions, becoming more open and gentle. Their bond was not just love, but also deep understanding, a perfect complement to each other. Minjun turned around at Hyunwoo's voice. He saw Hyunwoo and Hayrin staring at each other. Surprise and an inexplicable emotion flickered across Hyunwoo's face. Minjun sensed the subtle tension between the two. One warm afternoon, Minjun and Hayrin were sitting by the swimming pool, sipping tea. Minjun looked at Hayrin, his eyes filled with love. Team leader, go. What's going on, Hyunwoo? What brings you here? Minjun asked them. Hey, Rin, are you happy? He asked. Hyunwoo quickly composed his expression, but his eyes were still fixed on Hayrin. Hayrin didn't take her eyes off him. She instinctively knew that her identity had been discovered by Hyunwoo. Her heart pounded, but her face remained calm. Hayrin smiled, leaning her head on his shoulder. Yes, Minjun. I never thought I could have a life like this. Nothing. CEO Kang. Just met a familiar face for a moment. Hyunwoo replied, trying to sound calm, but a subtle tremor was in his voice. Me neither. My life completely changed after I met you. You are my light, the one who pulled me out of the shadows of doubt and conspiracies. Minjun clasped her hand tightly. Hayrin did not avoid Hyunwoo's gaze. Her eyes were resolute, and they contained a warning message. Don't act recklessly. That's what she was saying. We have overcome everything together. Minjun. We will always be together. No matter what happens. Minjun couldn't understand the subtle war of nerves between the two. He was surprised that Hayrin and Hyunwoo knew each other, but didn't ask further questions. He strengthened his suspicion towards Hyunwoo, and an unknown question about Hayrin resurfaced in his mind. They looked towards the horizon together, where the sun was slowly setting, painting a vibrant picture of colors. It was an image of a new beginning, of a bright future they had created together, their love, which began with a fateful encounter amidst gunfire and was hidden by a great secret, had finally bloomed, stronger and more sincere than ever. They proved that no matter how cruel fate might be, love and courage would always find their way, leading to a complete and meaningful ending. After leaving the research institute, Hayrin remained on high alert. Now that Hyunwoo knew her identity, her mission would undoubtedly become even more dangerous. She instinctively knew that the threat to Minjun would escalate. She now had to fulfill a dual mission: not only protect him, but also conceal her true identity. The burden on her shoulders grew heavier. She had to struggle through a complex fate involving her love for Minjun, her revenge, and the need to hide her true identity. Minjun and Hayrin's lives continued with new challenges in their professional and personal lives, but they knew they were no longer alone. They had each other, and complete love and trust. And that was all they needed to face everything. The moment Lee Hyunwoo recognized Go Hayrin's true identity, the air in Hwangryong Group's new technology research institute froze. Minjun sensed the subtle tension between the two, but couldn't precisely grasp its meaning. Hyunwoo tried to act calm, but his gaze remained fixed on Hayrin. In his eyes, surprise, anger, and an unknown fear were intertwined. He had never imagined that Go Hayrin would still be alive.